Gen Z might be one of the most hopeless generations I've ever seen. Here's why. Hi, have you ever felt like the world is going under? Well, it is. It is actively falling apart as we speak. Did you ever want to own a house? Well, too bad. Unless you inherit one or have spare gold bars lying around, you probably won't be able to afford a house in your lifetime. You thought this was bad? Just wait until you go grocery shopping. Everything is as expensive as ever, and the portions also keep getting smaller. Gas prices? As high as the mountains. Wars? We've got plenty. Pestilence? The bird flu is on the rise, so we truly have everything. Say goodbye to the world you used to know and say hello to the 21st century. Oh, and welcome to our newest generation, Gen Z, the first generation who will have unadulterated access to the internet. A brand spanking new awesome invention that contains more gore videos and pornographic material than you can even imagine. Seriously, it's impossible to imagine all of the stuff that is on the internet. You'll be delighted to know that the internet was first used by the military, and it's still an absolutely formidable piece of weaponry to this day. Welcome to this brave new world, Generation Z. You'll be guinea pigs to see what the internet can do to your mental health. Don't worry, it's just like smoking in the 50s, perfectly safe. Let's see how the brain handles near infinite amounts of information and misinformation, because this is what it's all been about. This great big build-up started long ago. You were always supposed to work 40 plus years at a job you hate so you can get scammed out of retirement. You were supposed to be too depressed to stand up for yourself and change the system. Don't start a revolution, we've got a new Netflix show, a new Disney movie, and a brand new sequel to your favorite video game just for you. Life is hard, and it always has been. You're a lazy piece of garbage if you demand a better life. You're so entitled. We're already giving you everything you want. How could you ask for more? You are the loneliest generation, so we gave you AI girlfriends. You won't be able to afford a house in your lifetime? Maybe not on Earth, but in the metaverse, you can buy whole villas for a small fee and have your own digital kingdom. You want more meaning in your life? We gave you all the meaning you need. Money. You could become rich one day if you work hard enough and be better than everyone else. You can become part of the 1%, and then all of your problems will go away. Just keep working until you made it. What about the other 99%? Well, screw them. They clearly didn't work hard enough. Only the most hard-working, most intelligent people get to be rich. What did you think? You would just be born into it? No, silly. This is how life was meant to be. And now get back to work, or you'll never be part of the 1%. Gen Z is losing hope, and it's not hard to see why. Everything I've said in the narration at the beginning is true to some extent, and of course, before you open the comments to complain how Gen Z people are such crybabies that are complaining so much even though they didn't have to live through the world wars or even the Vietnam War. Just because there have been greater struggles in history, that doesn't diminish our current ones. It hurts when you stub your toe, but should you feel guilty for feeling pain if there were many soldiers who died under terrific circumstances before you? Of course you shouldn't feel guilty. A stubbed toe is a stubbed toe and it will hurt all the same, just like the mental issues Gen Zers are having right now. People are allowed to suffer, even if there has been greater suffering. Our future does not look bright, and with events such as the US elections coming up this year, and possible escalations in the Middle East, I don't blame Zoomers at all for losing all hope. It also doesn't help that nihilism has become very popular now, and Gen Z is one of, if not the least religious generation to date. But okay, we've established pretty thoroughly why Gen Z is losing hope, but is there still hope after all of this BS? Will I grow old someday instead of dying due to the global warming's very own wet light bulb effect at 32? Does it even make sense to have hope for the future, or would it just be easier to abandon it all? And how can we keep our hope afloat in spite of such trying times? We'll start answering these questions right now. Okay, you might be very upset at the fact that everything has gone downhill. I haven't even mentioned the collective trauma of the pandemic that we still haven't recovered from. Everything has been really difficult lately, and pretty much everybody who doesn't have their own family emblem is struggling right now. You could say that everything is bad, and nothing matters because the Third World War will wipe us out anyway. Well, you could think that, but you can also just not care. You see, all of the fear being propagated by the media is meant to make you feel terrible, and while they report on true events sometimes, your life could still be just fine. The world does not dictate your happiness. You do, because happiness comes from within. The world being a terrible place actually has nothing to do with how you feel on a psychological level, because as you know, it's all in your head. Everything that is within you, you have some form of control over, and that includes your response to potential threats and danger. So, yes, the world might be objectively terrible, but that doesn't mean you have to feel terrible as well. This is why Stoicism has become so popular recently, although it is misinterpreted most of the time. Stoicism isn't about caring about nothing and not letting yourself ever be affected by your emotions. Stoicism is about choosing what you care about, so you can choose to care about the people you love or your passions, but the world as a whole? This might sound bad, but for your mental well-being, I would actually advise you to not care about the world. Do you think you would be this distressed if you were a simple forest dweller with no access to modern media? Well, maybe, because grocery prices and housing are objectively high right now, and you would notice this even without the internet. But as a wise man once said, tough times never last, only tough people. Eventually, the struggle years will end, and you will prosper again. You just need to get through this any way you can. Life in some ways is a constant struggle, and your ability to adapt to the struggle is your very means to survive. So, Stoicism might be a good option for some. But I've also heard so many things about how, oh, my life is so difficult and I am worthless, I should just give up. First of all, stop comparing yourself to others. That's almost always a recipe for disaster. Rather compare you to yourself. And secondly, the main objective on this world, as a biological creature, is to survive. All of the social milestones we have are just arbitrary achievements that we have set up many years ago, and they don't really mean anything unless you give them meaning. As long as you're surviving, you're winning. This is like Minecraft survival mode. You may not have diamond gear right now, but hey, you're still alive, and as long as you're alive, anything can happen, so don't give up hope. There's always a chance to recover. What does giving up hope even do? It takes the pressure away from yourself to become a better person and achieve your life goals. So you can just sit around all day and let your brain rot as you get constant small dopamine rushes to make up for the severe feeling of depression you're feeling constantly. And giving up hope is giving into your id, as Freud would say, your primal urges that don't make you happy, they just make you feel less hungry or less thirsty. Also, Gen Z is still very young, so there's all the more reason not to give up hope yet. I guess being young is also part of the problem, because most of our young adulthood and teenage years have been filled with pandemics, financial crises, and war. So from our perspective, this is just what life is, and to live is to suffer. And I think it's completely valid for Gen Zers to feel like life is very depressing, because not only are the struggle years most of our time being alive, but the promise of a better future is just not there anymore. Gone like the Twin Towers on 9/11, never forget. In the 50s up until the 80s, there was always this awe and glee when talking about the future and imagining what it might look like. I mean, look at all of the concepts for flying cars and hoverboards or futuristic clothing with robots that do everything for you. The earlier generations were genuinely excited what the future had in store for them, and can you blame them? They didn't have the Terminator Skynet-esque surveillance technology we experience on a daily basis, or walking robot dogs with flamethrowers attached to them. Yes, this is real, we're doomed. No, they had cassette tapes, colored television, and radio. The level of technology before the 2000s was much more manageable and comprehensive, and you could live a good life without being reliant on this technology. Now, your car has become a glorified iPad on wheels, and there are some stores that straight up don't accept cash anymore. Having some access to the internet has become a basic necessity for most people. And what technology do we have to look forward to in the not so distant future? We still didn't get our flying cars and hoverboards. Instead, we have AI generated videos that make you question reality, and AI that can analyze a person's online activity and continue to post like them, with AI generated pictures of that person, so even if they're dead or missing, no one would notice. Our current technology is already absolutely dystopian and horrifying. It also doesn't help that most of it is in the hands of the military-industrial complex, which is evil incarnate. So, getting this dystopian technology at a much higher and more sophisticated level is objectively terrifying. Our progress knows no bounds, and it seems like we will keep evolving everything around us, even though we have the same brains as cavemen. So, the future isn't exciting anymore, it's terrifying. So, what can you do to not lose hope as a young person in spite of all of this electric boogaloo? I think you just have to have the F it we ball mentality. Because in reality, no one knows what our future will look like. Sure, we might soon reach a technological singularity, but a solar flare might just wipe all of our data and fry most of our tech. So, we would be back to cowboy times. Red Dead Redemption in real life, baby. Yeehaw! Who knows? Space is actually very hostile when it comes to technology, and we have been mostly unaffected by it because, well, we're made of flesh. But space weather might just wipe out all of our tech one day. Especially the internet, because our long ocean cables are just completely exposed for the sun to shoot a little Kamehameha beam towards it. We've only had the mainstream iteration of the internet for like what? A little over 30 years? We might just lose it all in the end, so my advice is don't sweat it, because truly, anything can happen. But it still makes me question if and when it will happen, because oh boy, am I getting sick of all of these lies. The biggest one being the quote-unquote American dream. The American dream is dead, as is the old world. The belief that working hard will let you be able to afford a house, regular vacations, a car, providing for a family of 4, paying off your kids' tuitions, while still having enough money to make a nest egg for your future generations as a milkman is long gone. Now, if you have 2 jobs, you still might not be able to provide for yourself, let alone a whole family. Degrees have become more worthless due to the sheer number of people who have a degree, and some degrees being questionable in their validity. I mean, I have yet to see what jobs gender studies guarantees you except for HR maybe. I don't even care about the political gender debate around it. I genuinely don't know why one would pay massive amounts of money for a degree that doesn't guarantee you a job, and I'm not even sure which field of work this would cover. But nonetheless, degrees have become extremely oversaturated, and everyone makes less money now due to the severe worldwide inflation we've experienced post-pandemic. The myth of the dishwasher millionaire is also a complete joke now. There are biologists and scientists who have to work at McDonald's just to afford to live. You can be an extremely talented and highly skilled individual, yet you can very easily remain broke and unhappy in this world. Economically speaking, we're actually going into the opposite direction of dishwasher to millionaire. Because globally, the rich have gotten richer, and by the rich, I mean the 1%, and companies like BlackRock, while the rest have just gotten poorer. Why have a good work ethic if working hard just gets you a sore back? This contributes a lot of hopelessness towards Generation Z, because they have realized long ago that working hard does not equal living a better life necessarily, or even being rewarded for your hard work at all. The job market is also terrible, and there's a good chance you'll end up working at a job you absolutely hate just to be able to afford the bills this month. Or you have found work that you love, like art for example, but it's unsustainable, so you need to get a primary job so you can continue working on your passion projects as an artist. It's downright heart-wrenching to see young people be forced to lay their dreams aside because they know their dreams are incompatible with modern society. But I believe things will change. Things are forced to change because the way we have structured our society doesn't work anymore, and it will be replaced by a working model eventually. It's just that times of great change and uncertainty are the most difficult ones, and I believe if we band together and stay together, we will get through this. Not only will we get through this, we will have better lives than ever before, so we shall become many and rise against all of the terrors we face. But in the meantime, if all of this stresses you out immensely, I actually have a pro tip for you. If you're looking to calm yourself down, you can try running as hard as you can to get your body out of panic mode. All of these scary news about World War III and such might get your heart going, so doing something very physically intensive, especially running, will simulate the same feelings our ancestors used to have when running away from a threat. And when you've successfully ran away from your problem, then you actually feel the relief wash over your body and your emotions go back to baseline again. This is a great way to de-stress from this super stressful world and start being hopeful again. But what do I know? I'm just spitballing here. Not even experts have figured out how to end this era of hopelessness and mental despair. You know, I believe you can help too. Unless everyone gets together to solve this issue, it will keep haunting us, so be free to tell me your thoughts in the comments below, or make your own video. As long as our hope never dies, we will see the good times. The good times promised to us way back when will become reality, now or then. Thank you so much for watching till the very end. Like and subscribe, and bye bye.